on to terrace 10. This is a funny one because there's a couple of bits to it. There's this bit here, and that we don't know whether to call that 9B, which I think would be right, or 10B or 10A. On here, Ed did a nice job of berming up at that end to try, and we want this gullet because that bit's higher than this bit, so that it will push any water that runs down there. It should hit that and either run off to that tree or come across to this tree, instead of what it's doing now. It all pulls in up just here where you can see that sandy looking stuff where that 10 tyre tracks are. It's an absolute pain, because this is why we have to leave the car down at the bottom when we're expecting rain. This terrace, we've done a little bit of work there, but nothing at this end really. But we do want veggie gardens along here, or gardens of some description. We always need to be aware that we need to get the machines in to shape the trees. Until we can come up with an alternative method, we have to do it, because this is what you might term as cash crop. This is what pays for everything. These little beauties. And they are as well. This is going to be a veggie garden. Watering system I set up, it does work, as you can see there, but it's the levels are all wrong, but we'll come on to that later. And this bit around Carmen is going to be the biggest change if we get round to it in spring, but effectively we're going to have a piece of rebar mesh on its side down here to make a wall this way from here to where the caravan is, and then another one along there following that curve, and then with a turn at the other side of the pipe, and that's going to sit, it's going to be 3 pieces of rebar mesh, and there may even be another little bit just in front of us here with an archway. The idea is that this area will be enclosed. This is really, we're wanting to have it as a private area, because we obviously don't know people who are coming and all the rest of it, and I just think there should be some, I don't like separation, but I think we should have a private space. I don't think that's asking too much, because otherwise it ends up being 24/7 and it can get a bit tedious. So have this rebar mesh, and the idea is that we train things like vines, maybe peas, maybe tomatoes, up that framework, so that it gives us a food enclosure. It will cost a few quid to do it, but I think it'll be worth doing to give us a little bit of privacy, which I don't think's asking too much. But anyway, we've done this terrace, so I'm coming back down to this one. There's this funny little bit, don't know what we're going to do there. On this terrace, this where we are now is going to be a pond. You can see where all this is cracked. That's an indicator that this is where water pools, and what we're wanting to do is to take it down like the other ponds, just raise it up a little bit at the sides. The downside is that this is quite close to his eating area, and it may cause problems with certain kinds of bugs, but in other words mosquitoes, but we'll have to see. This area that I'm standing in, there should be a path coming through here along this bit, but we've not got round to it yet. Similar to these paths, the difference is what we're going to be doing is using the rotavator to cut a trench at either side of the path, scrape the soil up to mound up where the path's going to be, put the stones up against that banking, and then put the pebbles on top, so it will end up being raised from the area around it to stop it flooding, because at certain places it can flood. That's why we've got the stepping stones down there. I'll show you these. because it can flood there as a carryover from this and this. This area, I'm wanting a mini pond in here, not a deep big one, just something for bugs and beasties, and to extend the water table into here, because I'm wanting a herb spiral in this bit, which should be fun. And that's because it's right behind the kitchen, and the runoff water from the kitchen will be going into the herb spiral to water it, to irrigate it. So it'll be a little symbiosis going off there. Further along here, this is where we'd sort of, oh, hello, looks like a bird's been, yep, we've had a kill. Looks like a bird's been eaten by probably a fox, because Mr. Fox is not too far away from here. But this little bit we thought for the pond, sorry, for the pool, because it's got a nice high terrace at that side of it. And we've got this pond down here that we could put the concrete in, but we'll come to that in a bit. This needs a trench running across it, and an overflow pipe running into that. But we're still losing water down that banking. We'll get round to it in spring. Down at the bottom there, you can see where our vehicles have been going up and down it. It's actually the driest way around the site. It doesn't cut up the roads because it isn't a road. So yeah, that's all on here.